Hello coin collectors and history enthusiasts, welcome back to my channel. First up, we're taking a deep dive into a fascinating Australian coin, the Australia 50 cents, 1978 piece. If you have one with a big green spot on the obverse side and gray dots on the reverse side in fine condition, stay tuned as we explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. The 1970s was an exciting period in Australia's history. The country was undergoing economic transformations, and major political changes were shaping its future. The Australian 50-cent coin had already been in circulation for over a decade by 1978, replacing the round silver version in 1969 with the iconic dodecagonal shape that we know today. The 1978 Australian 50-cent coin was part of Australia's regular circulating currency and was minted by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. This coin is significant not just for its role in daily transactions, but also for its numismatic appeal. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of this coin. The reverse side of the 197850 coin features the Australian coat of arms, which has been a staple on the 50-cent coin since 1966. The coat of arms consists of a kangaroo and an emu supporting a shield that represents Australia's 6 states. Above the shield is a 7-pointed Commonwealth star, symbolizing the unity of the states and territories. The intricate details of this design showcase the craftsmanship of the Royal Australian Mint. On the obverse side, we see the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait of the Queen was first introduced in 1966 and remained on Australian coins until 1984. The inscriptions include Elizabeth II, Australia, and 1978, marking the year of mintage. Over time, many of these coins develop surface discoloration, including green and gray spots. These marks are usually caused by oxidation, environmental exposure, and prolonged contact with moisture. The green spots, often associated with copper oxidation within the nickel composition, appear on older coins that have been exposed to humid conditions. Meanwhile, the gray dots on the reverse side are a common sign of toning and metal reactions. While these spots affect the aesthetic appeal of the coin, they do not necessarily diminish its numismatic importance. Many collectors still seek these coins, especially if they are in decent condition with minimal wear. So what is this coin worth today? The value of the 1978 Australia 50-cent coin depends on its condition and demand among collectors. In fine condition with green and gray spots, it typically sells for around $82,000. However, if you have one in uncirculated or proof condition, its value can range anywhere from $85,000 or more. Coins that have been well preserved and graded by professional services tend to fetch higher prices, especially if they show minimal wear and retain their original luster. Special errors, misstrikes, or toned versions may command even higher premiums. That wraps up our deep dive into the Australia 50 cents 1978 coin. Even with green and gray spots, this coin remains a fascinating piece of Australian numismatic history. Do you have one in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Next up, we're diving into an iconic Australian coin, the Australia 50 cents 1976 coin. If you have one with yellow spots in very fine condition, stick around because we'll explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. To understand the significance of this coin, let's step back into 1976. This was a time of economic shifts, cultural changes, and the evolution of Australian currency. The Australian 50-cent coin had already undergone a major transformation in 1969 when the Royal Australian Mint introduced the dodecagonal shape, replacing the round silver 50-cent coin of 1966. By 1976, this new design was well established in circulation. The 50-cent coin continued to be an important part of Australia's decimal currency system, and the 1976 issue is a prime example of how Australian coinage maintained its identity while adapting to new trends. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of this fascinating 50-cent coin. The reverse side of the 1976 Australia 50-cent coin features the Australian coat of arms, designed by Stuart Devlin. This iconic emblem consists of a kangaroo and an emu supporting a shield that represents Australia's 6 states. The shield includes the Cross of St. George, as well as symbols for New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia, and Tasmania. Surrounding the coat of arms is a decorative wreath, adding an elegant touch to the overall design. Now flipping to the obverse side, we see the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait was used on Australian coins from 1966 to 1984 and remains one of the most recognizable images of the Queen. The inscriptions include Elizabeth II, Australia, and the year 1976. Some of these coins, especially those that have been in circulation or stored improperly, develop yellowish spots over time. These spots are typically caused by oxidation, environmental exposure, or the presence of certain metals in the alloy reacting with moisture. While this does affect the overall grade of the coin, it does not necessarily diminish its historical or numismatic value. Collectors still seek well-preserved examples, even with minor imperfections. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of the 1976 Australia 50-cent coin depends on its condition and rarity. In very fine condition, with some signs of wear and yellow spots, it typically sells for $86,000. However, if you have one in extremely fine or uncirculated condition, the price can range anywhere at $88,000, with some high-grade pieces fetching even more at auctions. For those looking to invest in Australian decimal coins, this 50 piece remains an accessible and valuable option, and if you happen to find one in pristine condition, you could be looking at a much higher return on investment. Next up, we're taking a closer look at a fascinating and unique piece, the Australia 50 cents 1984 coin, particularly those that have developed black and brown layers over time. We'll explore its history, design, features, and its value in today's collector market. If you have one in fine condition, you might be curious about its worth. Let's dive in. The year 1984 was significant in Australia, with ongoing economic growth and a steady demand for circulating currency. The Royal Australian Mint issued the 50-cent coin, a part of the decimal currency system introduced in 1966. Unlike its predecessor, the round 50-cent coin from 1966, the 1984 edition retained the dodecagonal shape that had become a staple since 1969. The 50-cent coin remains one of the most recognizable and frequently used denominations in Australian currency, playing a vital role in commerce and collecting. Now let's analyze the design of the 1984 Australian 50-cent coin. The reverse of the coin was designed by Stuart Devlin, one of Australia's most renowned coin designers. It features the Commonwealth coat of arms, which includes a shield displaying symbols of Australia's 6 states. Supporting the shield are a kangaroo and an emu, two of Australia's most iconic native animals. Above the coat of arms is the 7-pointed Commonwealth star, symbolizing the unity of the states and territories. The word Austria is inscribed at the bottom. Now, on the obverse side, we see the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait had been in use on Australian coinage since 1966 and continued until the late 1980s. The inscriptions around the portrait include Elizabeth II.984. Some of these coins, especially those exposed to specific environmental conditions, develop black and brown layers over time. This occurs due to oxidation, toning, or exposure to moisture and air pollutants. While this does not change the coin's metal composition, it can affect its aesthetic appeal and numismatic value. However, some collectors appreciate toned or naturally aged coins as unique pieces with individual character. So how much is this coin worth in today's market? The value of an Australian 50-cent 1984 coin depends on factors such as condition, rarity, and whether it has any special characteristics like toning. In fine condition with some wear and black or brown layers, this coin typically sells for $70,000. However, if you have a high-grade or uncirculated version, it can be worth anywhere $73,000. Proof versions which were minted in limited numbers can fetch significantly higher prices, sometimes exceeding $75,000. For serious collectors, having a well-preserved version in a protective case can increase its market appeal and potential resale value. If you happen to own a unique variant, such as a mint error or a particularly attractive patina, the value could be even higher. That concludes our exploration of the Australia 50 cents 1984 coin, especially those that have developed black and brown layers over time. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started, this coin is a fascinating piece to add to your collection. Next up, we're exploring an interesting and rare piece of Australian numismatic history, the Australia 50 cents 1969 coin with a light green shade. If you own one in fine condition, you may be holding on to a valuable collector's item. In this video, we'll delve into its history, design, unique features, and the current market value. Let's begin. The year 1969 was an important time for Australia. Just 3 years after switching to decimal currency in 1966, the country was still adjusting to the new monetary system. 50-cent coin, originally introduced in 1966, was made of 80% silver, but was quickly withdrawn due to the rising cost of silver. In 1969, the Royal Australian Mint reintroduced the 50-cent coin in a more practical copper-nickel alloy. The 1969 Australia 50-cent coin marked a new era for Australian currency, ensuring that high-denomination coins remain practical for circulation. Now, let's examine the design and features of this beautiful coin. The reverse side of the 1969 Australia 50-cent coin, designed by Stuart Devlin, features the Australian coat of arms. This intricate design includes a kangaroo and an emu supporting a shield with 6 sections, each representing an Australian state. Above the shield sits the Commonwealth Star, a 7-pointed star symbolizing national unity. The inscription, Australia, is positioned below, with 50 indicating the denomination. Turning the coin over, we see the obverse side, featuring the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait, used from 1966 to 1984, shows the Queen wearing a tiara. The inscriptions include Elizabeth II and Australia 1969. This classic design is widely recognized among collectors. One of the most intriguing aspects of some 1969 Australia 50-cent coins is their unusual light green shade. This discoloration can occur due to oxidation, environmental exposure, or improper storage. While some collectors may see this as a flaw, others find it to be a fascinating natural patina that adds character to the coin. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of the 1969 Australia 50-cent coin depends on its condition. In fine condition with a light green shade, it typically sells for $92,000. However, if you have one in uncirculated or nearly uncirculated condition, the price can range $95,000, with rare, pristine examples fetching even higher values. For collectors of Australian decimal coins, this is a must-have piece. If you have one with an even and appealing patina, some collectors may pay a premium for its unique look. That wraps up our in-depth look at the Australia 50 cents 1969 coin with a light green shade. It's a significant piece in Australian numismatics, and even in fine condition, it holds historical and collector value. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating Australian coin, the 2004 Australia 50 cents coin. If you own one with brown dots and in fine condition, stay tuned because we'll explore its history, design, unique features, and its current collector's market value. Let's get started. Before we discuss this specific coin, let's take a moment to understand the historical backdrop of 2004 D4. This was a significant year for Australia, marked by political, economic, and social developments. The Royal Australian Mint continued its tradition of producing high-quality coinage, releasing standard and commemorative issues. The 50 cents coin from 2004 was part of the regular circulation, but remains of interest to collectors due to various anomalies, including the appearance of brown spots. Now let's take a closer look at the design of this iconic coin. The reverse of the 2004 Australian 50 cents coin features the classic Australian coat of arms, a design that has been used on 50 cent coins since 1966. This coat of arms consists of a kangaroo and an emu holding a shield that represents the 6 Australian states. The detail in the design showcases the country's commitment to numismatic artistry. Surrounding this is the denomination inscription, 50 cents. Now, flipping to the obverse, we see the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait has been a staple of Australian coinage since 1998 and is characterized by its sharp detail and realistic representation of Her Majesty. The inscriptions include Elizabeth II, Australia, and the year 2004. Some of these coins, especially those that have been in circulation for a long time or improperly stored, develop brown spots. These spots are typically caused by oxidation, exposure to moisture, or metal impurities in the alloy. While these brown dots may lower a coin's grade slightly, they do not diminish its historical and numismatic significance. So, how much is the 2004 Australia 50 cents coin worth today? The value depends on its condition and rarity. In fine condition, with brown spots, it typically sells for $42,000. However, if you have a high-grade version such as one in uncirculated or proof condition, prices can range $45,000 depending on demand and collector interest. For those passionate about Australian numismatics, this coin remains an affordable and fascinating collectible. While common in circulation, well-preserved pieces continue to attract buyers, especially if they are free from excessive wear and discoloration. That wraps up our deep dive into the Australia 50 cents 2004 coin. It's an interesting piece of currency, and even if it has brown dots, it still holds collector value. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating Australian coin, the Australia 50 cents, 1996 piece. If you have one with brown spots and in fine condition, stay tuned as we explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. The 1996 Australia 50 cent coin was minted during an era of economic growth and modernization in Australia. It was a time when the country was gearing up for the new millennium and preparing for various national and international events. The 50 cent denomination had already established itself as an important coin in circulation, being a key part of Australia's decimal currency system since 1969. While this 50 cent piece may seem like an ordinary circulation coin, it carries historical significance and is part of Australia's broader numismatic journey. Now let's take a closer look at the design of this coin. The reverse side of the 1996 Australia 50 cent coin features the Australian coat of arms, which has been a staple on the 50 cent coin since 1966. The coat of arms consists of a kangaroo and an emu supporting a shield that represents Australia's 6 states. Above the shield is a 7-pointed Commonwealth star, symbolizing the unity of the states and territory. The level of detail in this design highlights the skill and craftsmanship of the Royal Australian Mint. On the obverse side, we see the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Makhlouf. This portrait of the Queen was first introduced in 1985 and remained on Australian coins until the late 1996. The inscriptions include Elizabeth II, Australia, and 1996, marking the year of mintage. Over time, many of these coins develop brown spots due to oxidation and exposure to environmental elements. These brown spots, often caused by moisture or handling, slightly lower the coin's aesthetic appeal but do not necessarily impact its historical or numismatic significance. Coins in fine condition may have visible wear and minor discoloration but remain highly collectible. So what is this coin worth today? The value of the 1996 Australia 50-cent coin depends on its condition and demand among collectors. In fine condition with some brown spots, it typically sells $48,000. However, if you have one in uncirculated or proof condition, its value can range anywhere $50,000 or more. Coins that have been well preserved and graded by professional services tend to fetch higher prices, especially if they show minimal wear and retain their original luster. That wraps up our deep dive into the Australia 50 cents 1996 coin. Even with brown spots, this coin remains a significant piece of Australian currency history. Do you have one in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more coin-related content. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.